Howdy, hello, and welcome to our second podcast episode, A Grumpy Old Man Finds Redemption and Love in Small Town Drama. I am Thomas, and I am here with my friend Timothy. Today, we are going to talk about Nobody's Fool. Nobody's Fool is a 1994 American comedy, drama film about Donald Sullivan, a stubborn old man living in the small village of North Bath. He frequently clashes with local contractor Carl Roebuck and engages in petty rivalries with him. The movie follows Sully as he navigates his personal relationships and legal battles while trying to make sense of his own life. To start with, I didn't enjoy the film. I just don't enjoy that genre. Tim, so did you like Nobody's Fool?
Well, Tom, I have to say that I found it rather boring as well. It's not really my cup of tea either, but, me, I like a good historical fiction or perhaps even a horror movie now and then. But this film just didn't capture my attention at all.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Tim. The story just seemed to drag on and on without any real climax or excitement, and the characters were quite unlikable in my opinion. Sully was just a grumpy old man who couldn't seem to get his act together, and Carl was this sleazy businessman who only cared about himself. I didn't really care what happened to either of them throughout the film.
Well, that's not surprising coming from you, Thomas. You always like your characters to be more outgoing and colorful. But honestly, this movie just felt too slow and predictable for my taste as well. I mean, we all knew that in the end, Sully would find some sort of redemption or peace with himself. But getting there was just a bit tedious, if you ask me.
Well, I can see your point, Timothy. But sometimes films like these are supposed to be more about character development and growth rather than mind-blowing plot twists or explosive action scenes. It's true that Sully did learn some valuable lessons along the way, and he even managed to mend his relationship with his son Peter in the end. But overall, I just couldn't find myself connecting with any of it.
Well, we all have our preferences, Tom. Personally, I think this film could have benefited from a few more comedic moments or perhaps some more excitement to keep the audience engaged throughout its runtime. But hey, at least we can agree that the performances weren't too shabby overall. Paul Newman was, as always, great in him. His role as Sully, and even Bruce Willis made an appearance, which was quite amusing.
Oh, yes. I have to admit that Paul Newman did a fantastic job portraying the complex character of Donald Sullivan. He managed to bring both humor and heartbreak into his performance, which is no small feat. As for Bruce Willis, well, he was just there for comic relief, really, wasn't he? His role as Rub was quite entertaining, though I have to say.
Well, I suppose we can't deny that Nobody's Fool had its moments. But overall, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I prefer films with a bit more action and excitement to keep me engaged throughout. And while there were some funny moments scattered here and there, they weren't enough to save the film, in my opinion.
Well, Timothy, as I mentioned earlier, this genre isn't really your forte either, but you have to admit that some of the themes explored in this movie are quite relevant even today. The story touches upon topics like aging, regret, and redemption, which many people can relate to on some level or another. Plus, it also offers a glimpse into small-town life, which is always interesting to watch unfold on screen.
Well, I can see your point there, Tom. But for me personally, the execution just wasn't up to par. The pacing felt off at times, and some of the storylines could have been explored further or perhaps even trimmed down a bit. And don't even get me started on that whole amusement park subplot, which felt completely unnecessary and out of place, in my opinion.
Fair enough, Timothy. I can understand your frustration with the pacing and certain plot points not being developed as much as you would have liked. But at the end of the day, everyone has different tastes when it comes to movies. And while Nobody's Fool may not have been your cup of tea, There are still plenty of people out there who appreciate this kind of storytelling and character-driven narratives like this one.
Well, said Tom, I suppose we can agree to disagree on this one. But hey, that's what makes movie discussions so interesting in the first place, right? We get to share our opinions and perspectives on different films without fear of judgment or criticism from each other. So here's hoping for some more entertaining movies in the future that we can both enjoy equally.
Exactly, Tim. And who knows? Maybe if we watch enough films together, you might find yourself warming up to this genre just a bit more over time. After all, it's never too late to expand your horizons when it comes to cinema. So until next time, folks, thanks for joining us on another thrilling episode of Timothy and the Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. We love hearing from our fans.
Said Tom, I suppose we can agree to disagree on this one. But hey, that's what makes movie discussions so interesting in the first place, right? We get to share our opinions and perspectives on different films without fear of judgment or criticism from each other. So here's hoping for some more entertaining movies in the future that we can both enjoy equally.
Exactly, Tim. And who knows? Maybe if we watch enough films together, you might find yourself warming up to this genre just a bit more over time. After all, it's never too late to expand your horizons when it comes to cinema. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. We love hearing from our fans. Now I want to talk about the soundtrack of this film. It was absolutely fantastic. Robert Benton, the director, did an amazing job selecting songs that perfectly captured the mood and atmosphere of each scene. The score was composed by Richard Robbins, who is known for his work on films like Driving Miss Daisy and The Shawshank Redemption. He really outdid himself with this one. One of my favorite tracks from the soundtrack is Nobody's Fool, performed by Bruce Springsteen. I think it perfectly encapsulates Sully's journey throughout the film. From his struggles and regrets to his eventual redemption and acceptance of life's challenges, the song has a bittersweet quality to it that really resonates with me on an emotional level. Another standout track is The Glory of Love, performed by Peter Cetera. This song plays during a pivotal moment in the film when Sully and Toby, his love interest, share a dance at the local bar. The song adds to the romantic atmosphere of the scene and helps to showcase their growing connection with each other despite their age difference. Overall, I think the soundtrack of Nobody's Fool is just as memorable as the film itself. It perfectly complements every emotion and moment in the story without feeling intrusive or out of place. If you haven't already, I highly recommend checking it out. Well, said Timothy, I completely agree with you about the soundtrack of Nobody's Fool. It really is one of its strongest aspects. Now, let's talk about some of these amazing actors who brought these characters to life on screen. As we mentioned earlier, Paul Newman played Donald Sullivan, or Sully for short, and he was absolutely fantastic in the role. He managed to capture both the grumpy and vulnerable sides of Sully while still maintaining a certain charm that kept us invested in his character's journey throughout the film.
Absolutely, Thomas. Paul Newman was truly a legend, and this role just shows how versatile he was as an actor. But let's not forget about Bruce Willis, who played Rub Sullivan, Sully's estranged son. While his role was smaller than some of the other actors in the film, I think he brought a certain level of energy and humor that helped to lighten up some of the more dramatic moments. His chemistry with Paul Newman was really quite entertaining to watch on screen.
Yes, Bruce Willis did an excellent job portraying Rub, who served as Sully's moral support and comic relief at times. The dynamic between the two of them added depth to their characters and made their scenes together all the more enjoyable for me personally. But let's not forget about Jessica Tandy, who played Miss Beryl, Sully's neighbor and confidante. She brought a lot of warmth and compassion to her character, which was essential in showing Sully's growth throughout the film.
Oh, yes, I completely agree, Thomas. Jessica Tandy was outstanding as Miss Beryl. Her performance was both heartwarming and genuine, which helped to ground the story and provide a sense of stability for both Sully and the audience. And then there's Melanie Griffith, who played Toby, Sully's love interest. She brought an air of innocence and optimism to her character that was quite refreshing amidst all the turmoil in Sully's life. Their relationship felt very authentic and heartfelt, thanks in large part to their amazing chemistry on screen.
Well said, Timothy. Melanie Griffith did a fantastic job bringing Toby to life. And let's not forget about the rest of the cast. Pruitt Taylor Vince as Carl Roebuck, Philip Bosco as Peter Sullivan Jr., and even Gene Sachs in his brief but memorable role as Sully's father. Each actor brought their A game to this film, adding layers upon layers of complexity and depth to their respective characters. It truly was a testament to the director Robert Benton's vision and talent for bringing out the best in his actors.
Absolutely, Tom. This cast was truly incredible, and they all did an amazing job breathing life into these complex characters. I think that's one of the things that really stood out to me about Nobody's Fool. Despite its slow pace and somewhat predictable storyline, the performances were consistently engaging and emotionally resonant. They kept me invested in Sully's journey, even when the plot itself wasn't always captivating enough on its own accord.
Well, said Tim, I think that speaks volumes about the strength of this film. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's no denying that the performances are top-notch and worth watching for fans of great acting. And who knows, maybe if we revisit some of these older films like Nobody's Fool, we might just discover hidden gems waiting to be appreciated by new generations.
I couldn't agree more, Tom. There are so many amazing films out there that deserve a second chance in the spotlight. And while Nobody's Fool may not have been the most exciting or action-packed movie we've ever discussed, it certainly showcased some truly exceptional acting and storytelling that shouldn't be overlooked. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, said Tim, I think we can all agree that Robert Benton did an excellent job directing Nobody's Fool. The pacing may be a bit slow at times, but it allows for the audience to really immerse themselves in Sully's world and get to know him on a deeper level. Plus, the film is visually stunning. Intimate close-ups that capture every nuance of emotion on the characters' faces. It truly is a testament to Benton's skills as a director.
Absolutely, Tom. The slow pace did serve a purpose in this film. It allowed us to connect with Sully and really understand his struggles. And I think that was one of the biggest strengths of the film. Its ability to make us empathize with this grumpy old man who's just trying to find his place in the world. The direction also played a big role in setting up some truly emotional moments between Sully and other characters, particularly during their heart-to-hearts or confrontations.
Speaking of emotional moments, let's talk about one scene in particular that stood out to me. The climax where Sully finally confronts his estranged son, Rub. The way Benton directed this scene was absolutely masterful. From the close-up shots of their faces as they exchanged harsh words to the slow push, enduring their eventual reconciliation, it was all so beautifully crafted and emotionally impactful. I think that's one of those moments where you can really appreciate Benton's skill as a director. Don't you agree, Timothy?
Oh yes, Tom. That scene was absolutely brilliant, both in terms of writing and direction. The build-up throughout the film made their confrontation all the more powerful and cathartic for both characters, and for us as viewers, too. And like you said, Robert Benton's skillful handling of the camera contributed greatly to its emotional resonance. He knew exactly when to pull back or zoom in on a character's face to convey their feelings effectively without relying on dialogue or music cues. It was truly an outstanding scene that showcased everything this film had to offer.
I couldn't agree more, Time. And while we're on the subject of music, let's not forget about the score by Richard Robbins, which added so much depth and emotion to every single scene in this movie. From the somber strings during Sully's darkest moments to the more upbeat melodies during his interactions with Toby or Beryl, it all complemented the story perfectly without overshadowing any of its other elements. Another testament to Robert Benton's vision and skill as a director.
Absolutely, Tom. The score was definitely one of my favorite aspects of this film. It managed to enhance every scene without feeling intrusive or manipulative. It felt more like an organic extension of each character's emotions rather than something imposed from outside the story itself. And Richard Robbins did a fantastic job capturing all these different moods and tones throughout the film, from heartache to hope, from regret to redemption. It was truly a remarkable achievement.
Well, said Tim, now that we've discussed the script, direction, acting, and score of this amazing film, what are your final thoughts on Nobody's Fool? Do you think it deserves all the praise it's been getting over the years? Or is there something about it that you feel could have been improved upon?
Tom, as I mentioned earlier, this film isn't for everyone. It's a slow-paced drama with very few action scenes or explosions. But if you're willing to invest your time and attention into the story and its characters, like we did during our discussion today, then I believe you will find many things to appreciate about this movie. From its superb performances by Paul Newman and Jessica Tandy to its poignant themes of love, loss, and redemption. So while it may not be everyone's cup of AM tea, I do think that Nobody's Fool is a masterpiece in its own right.
A testament
to the enduring power of great storytelling and exceptional filmmaking.
Well, said Tim, I couldn't agree more. While it may not be everyone's favorite film, there's no denying that Nobody's Fool is a true gem in the world of cinema. It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll. One that makes us reflect on our own lives and relationships and appreciate the simple joys that we sometimes overlook in our daily routine. You might just discover a new favorite film. Well, said Tim, now let's talk about the cultural impact of this film. Released in 1994, Nobody's Fool was part of a wave of independent American cinema that emerged during that decade. The film's focus on small-town life and characters grappling with personal issues resonated deeply with audiences worldwide. It also featured an all-star cast, including Paul Newman in one of his most celebrated roles, which undoubtedly contributed to its success, both critically and commercially.
Absolutely, Tom. The film's portrayal of small-town life struck a chord with many viewers who could relate to Sully's struggles in finding his place within that world. Moreover, the themes explored throughout the movie, such as redemption and coming to terms with one's past mistakes, are universal experiences that transcend cultural boundaries. This resonance has ensured that Nobody's Fool remains a beloved classic among film fans today.
That's true, Tim. The themes of redemption and self-discovery in this film have certainly stood the test of time. And speaking of which, I think it's worth mentioning how well preserved this movie is despite its age. The cinematography holds up incredibly well, and Robert Benton's direction ensures that the story remains engaging and emotionally impactful even upon repeated viewings. It truly is a testament to the quality of filmmaking during that era.
I completely agree, Tom. The attention to detail in this film, both in terms of visuals and performances, really makes it stand out from other films of its time. And I think that's one of the reasons why Nobody's Fool has remained relevant over the years. It's a film that not only entertains, but also challenges us to reflect on our own lives and values. It's a timeless story that continues to resonate with audiences worldwide, which is an incredible achievement for any piece of art.
Well, said Tim, to wrap things up then, let me just say how much I've enjoyed our discussion on this fantastic film. Despite its slow pace and more reserved approach to storytelling, Nobody's Fool has proven itself to be a true masterpiece in American cinema. It's a film that will continue to inspire and move audiences for generations to come, thanks in large part to the exceptional talent both in front of and behind the camera. So until next time, folks, make sure to give this gem a watch if you haven't already. You won't be disappointed.
Well, Tom, as we wrap up our discussion on Nobody's Fool, I can't help but reflect on how this film has managed to stay relevant over the years despite its slow pace and more reserved approach to storytelling. It truly is a testament to the enduring power of great cinema when a film like this one can touch our hearts and minds so deeply.
I couldn't agree more, Time. And as we sign off for today, let me just say how much I enjoyed our conversation about this amazing movie. It's been a pleasure to share my thoughts on Nobody's Fool with you and all of our wonderful viewers out there. So until next time, folks, make sure to check out more of Timothy and Thomas's discussions on your favorite films.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any thoughts or opinions about Nobody's Fool. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us on this journey through cinema history. See you next time